Backstage, the Austin City Limits Music Festival, Day 2, Manchester Orchestra here with us, Andy and Rob. So, we were just talking about your hokas.
Yeah. Hey, no shame.
I've got them too.
No shame.
Comfortable footwear at festivals is a thing that apparently people have somehow, well, there's us.
There's a lot of cowboy boots out here. I
Boots.
just don't get it. No,
I don't get it.
Well, I think just, I turned 35 and just things start being a little different on your body, and you need to kind of take care of those things you're walking around on all day.
We're going to start talking about inserts soon.
Oh, so I can go there with you. Now, I spent 8 weeks this summer in a walking boot because I injured myself doing jump rope, actually. And so now my foot health has never been more important to me.
Did you have one of those moments where you thought, I might be performing in a
yeah.
What do they call it?
That was
what's the word I'm looking for? Throne.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I tried to borrow it from Dave.
Yeah.
No, I just did the wrong thing and didn't wear it during Lollapalooza, and all of my adrenaline made me feel no pain, and so it just re-injured more, and then I really had to stay off of it for a while.
How did the pandemic change you personally?
I think a sense of gratitude, and it was a forced pause in a career that I started when I was 16 and didn't have a lot of time to reflect on that. And, what we met when I was 18 years old at Lollapalooza 2006. So we were just on a train moving really fast, and it forced us to stop and take a look at it all and realize how fortunate we were for what we had. And then being able to come back, and as the shows have gotten larger and the fan base continues to grow, we're living in a place of gratitude.
Yeah, I mean, my theory is that for established artists, it was a time to sort of take pause and figure things out.
Absolutely.
And maybe reprioritize a lot of stuff. If you were young and TikTok was an option and whatnot, you could skip a bunch of steps and have a really productive pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that's going to translate however far down the line.
Yeah, I felt the worst for young artists that need to go on tour. Right. Because you're at a certain crossroads with your first record or two. Like, the only thing you can do is go play 250 shows a year. Like, you got to go do that.
Put the reps in.
And no Spotify playlist is gonna have that effect. So I felt for them a lot.
15 years or whatever into this, how do you make sure that you're making progress? I mean, because there's not a lot of checks and balances when it's two of you bouncing things off each other.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that allows us to make sure that it's progressing in the way that we want it to, rather than relying on a label to push you, management to push you. It's more of meeting a self-fulfillment. And
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think we're our hardest critics. Our biggest fear is making a record that's not as good as the record before, and so that we will spend a year making a record to make sure that it gets there. Mm-hmm. So I think since we have a level and expectation for ourselves, it takes us longer with each record to meet that expectation. But then once we do, we know the work is the right work, and we can be satisfied, and release it.
Because those are artistic expectations; they're not necessarily commercial expectations.
100%. Yeah, we cannot make music in order to try and have a hit. We're a band that cannot have a song on the radio for 6 years, and then we might have one that that pops for a minute, and that's great, but we don't bank on that, and so that allows us to make records that feel like albums and not worry so much about the plays.
Is the actual performance aspect of all this as fun as it used to be?
I think it's more fun.
Yeah.
I think we were in a big fun. We say that every night before we go out on stage. It's like, we have to remember that we are in a rock band, and that, first of all, is hilarious, and secondly, like, if we take this for granted at all and don't have fun doing this, then what's the point? And it's hard to have fun when you're taking yourself seriously and you're younger.
COVID also helped with that, but it also, when we were touring in our bubble, it allowed us as a band to get off stage in the dressing room. No one else is there, and we discuss the show, and it was like a healthy therapeutic way of let's keep evolving.
Yeah.
And it got us,
because we're not as good as we can be, and so we should continue to try and keep getting better.
I never thought of that, because I've gone through every pandemic situation in my head, but but I guess not having guests,
It was a
nobody in the
huge
green,
blessing,
like
man.
that's an opportunity to gel. that-
Absolutely. It
made
brought
us
us closer.
closer, yeah.
It definitely brought us closer. Because you're talking about a set immediately after, and, you maybe get 10, 15 minutes by yourself after a show, and then your guests are coming back, and, people that come to shows, they forget that it's actually our job. It's a party for them. And so, yeah, getting the opportunity to discuss it, and how do we get better? How do we swap this thing out? And just kept getting tighter.
Now, audiences were definitely weird for a little while after things started to open
Yeah.
up a little.
Yep.
Are they still a little weird?
No, man, it's rowdy out there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Thank God.
Can you feel the difference between audience A and audience B on the walk to the microphone? Like, is there? Because I know people that can gauge whether this is going to be.
You can tell.
Because crowd dynamics are a weird thing.
100%. Yeah, you can tell.
You can also kind of tell by like sound check of like how the room, can you play off the room? Can you feel the PA, or are you just going off the wedges? And I feel like that allows you to interact with the crowd more because you can hear their excitement better.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there a sense that you're making up for the lost time, but also don't want to do this too long for a record that came out during a pandemic?
Sure, yeah.
So there's like a whole new set of problems there too.
Yes, I mean, we're definitely on our little swan song on this record, and going to finish up this year with our festival in Atlanta, and next year is a creative year, and we're really looking forward to getting back into that.
That's right. You've got your own festival.
Yes, we do. That's
Do
right.
you walk around these things differently now that you've got your own? Do
Yeah.
you look at them in a sort of business mind frame?
Ours is small potatoes compared to something like this, but it does. I have a lot of respect for organization of things like this. There's a lot of moving parts going on.
This has got to be your third or fourth one of.
I think it might be our fifth, honestly. Yeah, because I think we did.
bad books as well.
That's right. We did 08, 2010, 2015, 18, and then this one. Yeah.
See, it's crazy that you remember those.
I've got a
years.
weird memory, man.
Yeah.
I know exactly where we've been all the time, which I don't know why. I can't remember, to bring my computer from the dressing room into the tour bus, but, you want to know where we were August of 09. I know exactly.
So when a fan comes up to you and says, "I saw you at blank blank,"
Yeah, I remember.
You actually do remember.
I do. I'll remember details of the show, too,
Did you ever see that Saturday Night Live with Paul Simon where he's on an elevator and every fan tells him, everyone on the elevator tells him exactly where they were in Central Park?
Oh,
for
that's
the
a great
concert,
bit.
and he remembers what color their blanket was,
That's
etc.
amazing.
And then Garfunkel gets on the elevator.
No one says
He doesn't know who he doesn't recognize him.
That's
at all.
amazing.
Yeah. In any event, Manchester Orchestra, both weekends of the Austin City Limits Music Festival. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Andy.
All right, we'll be back with more interviews and performances from backstage. This is day 2 of 6 in Zilker Park for the Austin City Limits Music Festival.